I feel as passionate about this. I don't know that I can come across exactly the same way. And by the way, I hope you weren't reading those books while you were driving.
Not anymore. Okay, too much traffic on the freeway.
You know, the Community Foundation, first I want to introduce actually a couple of our board members are here, Paul Lindsay and Jonathan Rothschild. Thank you on behalf of the foundation and the community for the leadership really our board took now about 1.5 years ago in committing $1 million to this effort over 5 years. One of the things that led to that was as we began to look at, we had gotten a wonderful gift from an estate. As we began to look at what to be able to do with that, it became pretty clear that this issue of literacy and the need for literacy in this community, not just with adults, but with kids and throughout the entire spectrum that we have as a community, was one of the key defining issues for us if we were going to be able to grow, if we were going to be able to thrive as a community. We also realized in this that it was about more than the money. I mean, the money is great. Being able to have the $1 million available to this, to be able to use for this, is a great thing. And again, I really appreciate our board making that commitment. But the other thing that we realized also was that this was such a community issue, that this was not something that the Community Foundation could do by itself. When we first started talking about this effort, there was a group called the Tucson Area Literacy Coalition that had been in existence for more than 20 years. The literacy providers that have been doing the work on the ground every day and working with people every day to help them learn to read and to be able to succeed in their lives and improve themselves. One of the first conversations that I remember having with that coalition was the need to be able to reach out beyond just its members, to be able to reach out to the chambers and to TRIO and to other organizations that might be able to be helpful, like Southern Arizona Leadership Council, that might be able to be helpful in getting the word out about this and bringing more people into this fight for this community. As we worked through this issue, we started with this commitment of $1 million and said, well, how do we build this coalition? How do we build a framework in this community that will enable us all to be able to participate in this? And fortunately for our organization, the Tucson Regional Town Hall came about. It was about January, I think, of, I guess it's 2 years ago now. January 2007, right? So actually our commitment was 2.5 years ago now, as I think about it. But the 2 years ago that Ron Schutman came to us and said, we're thinking about doing this. And we said, well, we'd really like to find out a little bit more about how this community feels about literacy. Out of the Tucson Regional Town Hall, this became one of the issues. And we knew then that we had the interest of people that wanted to be able to do this, and that enabled us to begin to bring other people to the table, to start this conversation and to create really this Literacy for Life coalition. One of the things that's interesting to me as you look at this board here that's to my left, is if you look at all these zip codes, and this is kind of an indication of literacy rates, if you will, or people who have GEDs, there is not a zip code that is identified here that has less than 30% that need GED or continuing education, no matter what the numbers are. But so it shows that this is an issue that is prevalent throughout our community, that is in a variety of different corners. And so it's something that we need to make sure that we are looking at as a community. Part of that also is that our definition of literacy, and I know Martha Gilliland, who I'm going to introduce you to a little bit later, is going to talk a little bit about this, but the definition of literacy isn't just the kind of the reading and writing. It's also about financial literacy. It's also about technological literacy, medical literacy, all of the kind of things that enable us as individual citizens to get the most out of our community and the most out of our life in this community. So we're going to be reaching out in different ways also across all different kinds of lines to make sure that that happens. And it's really an honor for us to be here today and for me to represent the foundation to say congratulations to the coalition, to really be able to launch this forward. You know about the Tucson Festival for Books. I know that many of you in this room, I'm sure, are participating in one way or another. It just seems to me that this is the right time. We've gotten the right people at the table, it's the right time, and now it's time, as Jack said, to begin to move the needle. And I want to thank all of you for the work that you do and that you will do in the time ahead to be able to help address this. With that, I'd like to introduce Ron Schupman, who's the president of the Southern Arizona Leadership Council, to talk a little bit about their role as well.